Alright, now we're going to work on practicing our stitching. Now we're going to use actual thread and fabric to practice now. Now that you've had a chance to do it on paper, we're going to practice with fabric. There's a couple tips that I want you to keep in mind. You always need your presser foot down, okay? You're going to line up your fabric under the needle, and then you're going to lower your presser foot before you begin stitching. This is what keeps your fabric from moving all over the place. Okay, you need your presser foot down. You also need your needle down. It's helpful to start with the needle in the down position in your fabric when you first start. And you can get there by turning your handle towards you until the needle is in the fabric. And then you need to remember where to look. Please do not focus on the needle. You will get some wobbly lines. You want to look a little bit ahead of you or kind of off to the side at the edge of your presser foot. And I will show you that over at the machine. But today we're just going to work on some very basic stitches with thread and fabric. And the easiest way is to use like a white or light colored fabric and then a bright colored thread or even black thread. It's helpful to use one color for the top thread and a different for the bobbin, just so you can see where possible problems are coming from if you're having tension issues or your thread, if it's not stitching correctly. That's just one way that you can kind of tell where things are coming from. So we're going to try practicing straight lines, corners, curves, and we can do it just straight on the fabric, or you can draw some lines directly on your fabric if you want to have something to follow, if you're nervous about just stitching on bare fabric. We'll do that. So we're going to make sure that our machine is threaded correctly, and we're going to turn it on, and we're going to use a straight stitch at about 2.5 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to take you over to the machine, show you how to get started stitching. Okay, so now we're going to practice our stitching, and there's a couple things you want to remember when you first start stitching, and I've made a little PDF printable, so you can print this out and put it by your machine, so as a beginner you'll start to remember these steps. As you start sewing, it's just going to become automatic and you'll do these things. But you always want to make sure your thread tail is back, you want to align your fabric and lower your presser foot. Then you want to lower your needle into the fabric before you start sewing, and then you're going to gently guide. So I'm going to show you on the machine this main steps to how to start a stitch. So let's head over to the machine. Okay, so when you start sewing, you want to remember to hold your thread tails back and to the left about 4 to 6 inches. This keeps it from knotting up underneath your fabric when you start sewing, because it'll knot up if you don't kind of have it off to the side. So I hold it off to the side and I kind of keep it off with my fingers, okay? Then you want to lower your presser foot that holds your fabric in place. You've got to have your presser foot lowered before you start sewing. So you will have a lever either on the side or off to the back, and you're going to lower that down, okay? Now my fabric's not going anywhere, and then you need to lower your needle. So you're going to turn your hand wheel towards you until your needle is into the fabric. Now you can start sewing. Okay, hold your hands off to the side, not right up on the needle, off to the side, look a little bit in front of you so you know where you're going, and kind of keep that thread off, okay? And then you press your presser foot, and you can sew. Now, I'm barely holding on, I'm just kind of guiding the fabric. I'm not holding it tight and I'm not pushing it, I'm just holding on so that it kind of guides forward and I can guide it whichever direction I want it to go, okay? That's how you start stitching.